Now we're going to go into how to set up your X-ray integration. We have direct integrations with Opal 2020 and Biokinemetrics. There are other possibilities that we may be able to integrate with different X-ray softwares, but we can't guarantee it. There are a few things we have to talk with you first, and you talk with your X-ray software first. So it's not a direct no, we just have to do a bit of digging. So if you're using a different X-ray software than Opal 2020 and Biokinemetrics, please just reach out to support and we'll connect you with our agent that is our X-ray specialist. For this example, I'm going to use Opal 2020. You would first log into the location, go to Settings, Initial Setup, Integrations, X-ray. Here you want to click on this helper icon as this will connect you to our knowledge base article that walks you step by step how to set up these settings in Opal and how to set up our ChiroHD uploader. Please read this guide in its entirety before starting the X-ray integration. There's a lot of facts you need to know and a lot of things you need to prepare yourself to know. So please read the guide in its entirety before going through the X-ray integration. And please don't skip a bunch of stats or skip over sentences. A few things that are important to note. I want to break down the integration in its basic form. All our integration is doing is you set up your X-ray software to export the X-rays in a JPEG file with the patient ID and the file name, and you tell it, take these X-rays, export it in that format into a file folder on the desktop that's connected to my X-ray software. And then you install our ChiroHD uploader. And what that simply does is our uploader looks at that file folder on your X-ray computer and we map it into the ChiroHD profile. We can only map it if the patient IDs at the beginning of the file name in appropriate format. So if we break down the integration in its basic forms, it's kind of simple. Hey, X-ray software, put my X-rays in this file folder. And then, hey, ChiroHD uploader, copy that file folder into the patient's accounts. And that's all the integration is in its basic form. But there are complexities to that, and so we want to make sure it's set up right. So again, that's why we ask you read the guide in its entirety. A couple things to point out as this guide instructs us, you do have to use Chrome. This is the standard anyways across ChiroHD, as ChiroHD is only supported for a Chrome browser. So also for the integration to work, you do have to use Chrome. So on your X-ray computer, make sure that you have Chrome. Also, once you set up the integration, that will only integrate your X-rays from that point moving forward. It does not back export and integrate. So what does that look like? If you're an office that is migrating ChiroHD and you're not a brand new office, you've already have a bunch of patient X-rays in Opal, you will have to go into each patient's exam. You have to input their new ID into the exam that you've already taken, but you have to put their ChiroHD patient ID into the exam. Point blank, we can't map X-rays if they don't have the ChiroHD patient ID. There is not a current way to bulk do this. You do have to go into the individual exams and put in their new ChiroHD patient ID. You have to click through each image in the exam, which is pretty quick, and then just simply close out of the exam. Once you close out of the exam, that tells Opal to re-export the X-rays with whatever the new settings are. So whether I did new annotations, I added new images, or I changed the patient ID, which you would have to, it's going to export those X-rays with those new fields. And at that point, we can sync them into their ChiroHD patient account. Again, this steps take you through exactly what I just talked about. Is if you had x-rays prior into your x-ray software before using ChiroHD, you will have to update the patient ID, click through each image, and then close out the exam. But moving forward, if you have a new patient, it's quick and simple from the beginning because you would automatically just put in what their ChiroHD patient ID is, and then you would take the x-rays and export it right then. I am not going to go through this video each step of the integration guide as this guide is pretty detailed, but I just want to go over what the basic integration is, point you to this guide. If you run into any issues after setting up the integration, the first thing I would encourage is to restart your computer. If you're still running into issues after that, please reach out to support and we will connect you with our agent who specializes in the x-ray integration. So there's no need to get worried. We have someone available to help. But if you follow the steps as they are set out, you should be able to set the integration on your own. Once your x-rays are synced into the patient profile, we'll be able to see them within patient profile, and I can easily click on x-ray to filter just to those files that are x-ray type. I can click in and see the x-rays if I would like, see the file. You can also see the x-rays on the doctor's SOAP note screen. Here at the bottom, I can see the x-rays. I can click on them to view bigger. I can also click on the plus to compare two x-rays side by side. If you go to Utilities, Document/X-rays, this will also show you any documents or x-rays that have been manually uploaded or that have been uploaded via an integration. If you have a set of x-rays that are not syncing over, first place I would encourage you is go to this Utilities, Document X-rays tab, and if you see text displayed in red, and it says unknown patient, like this for example, that's an example where the x-rays did not have the correct patient ID when they were exported. Because what ChiroHD is telling us is, hey, I tried to sync these over, but I don't know who they go to. That is why having the ChiroHD patient ID in the file name in an appropriate way, and we have a certain way it has to be in there. That's why having that patient ID in the file name is so important because that's how we know who to map it to. But again, if you're having some x-rays for a particular patient that are not syncing over, this would be a troubleshooting step and to verify that I have the correct patient ID.